Hi and welcome back to the Nerd Theorist. This is our new series called It's Character Building, where myself, Tom, and Andrew we are creating our D&D characters, or at least some we would like to play, because we like to create characters in completely the different way. I like to kind of create completely wacky and strange characters that are fun to kind of role play, whereas Andrew will kind of create a very statistical well, he's a power gamer, let's just put it that way. He is a complete 100% power gamer. He will just max out a character, be amazing at what it does, and they really do tend to be amazing at what they do. So stay tuned, because this week we are doing the class of Rogue. So we're going to make the Rogues in our own special way. So, Andrew, you want to take it away with your Rogue, please?
Absolutely. So, Rogues. When I was looking at races, so I'll start with race. When I was looking at races, there was a few things I sort of thought of. Lying was one of them. Arakocra came across my mind. And also, Bugbear seemed like he had some really cool abilities. So, it's got proficiency in strength and a sort of sneak attack sort of mechanic. But where I ended up, I've gone for an Eladrin elf.
Now, it's one I'm that familiar with, really.
No, it's a lot of the elf variants. There are similarities that cross over a lot of them. But Eladrin elf, I went for this because it's got some really cool things that I think synergize really well with Rogue. So I'll just run down some of the main bits that I liked. So the Dark Vision, 60 foot. Dark Vision's always nice. Getting Perception as a proficiency just from your race seemed really good, and they're +2 to Dex. It's always a bonus when we're making rogues, so that's all really good. But one of the main things that I sort of saw in it was it gets a Misty Step spell once every short rest. So not even once every long rest. Every short rest, you get a
single
Misty
use.
Step spell. Yeah, just single use. But Misty Step
get you out of a tight spot.
Yeah, exactly. And as a rogue, you can end up in tight spots quite often. So yeah, so that's the race, and those are sort of why I picked it. Bit of gravy on that is elves get a 4-hour long rest. It's got like a trance that they can go into, which is nice. But I think to truly take advantage of that, the whole party would have to be elves, because really you have a 4-hour long rest and everybody else has got an 8-hour long rest, so there's only so much benefit. Yeah, or Warforged. So there's only so much benefit you can get from that. And also the Fey Ancestry, which is being advantage on being charmed and magic can't put you to sleep. So it's very situational, but could be a bonus in certain situations. So, class. So we're only going to talk through sort of the first 8 levels, because I think our logic on that was a lot of campaigns don't always go to level 20, and the choices become sort of not quite as important as you get past the first 8 levels. And I think those are where your main key points are going to come from. So in the first level, so rogues at first level, they get 4 choices of proficiencies and 2 expertises. And for those of you who don't know, expertise is where you get, it's essentially like double your proficiency bonus in certain skills. So proficiencies I chose for them 4 were some classic rogue options here: Delve, Sleight of Hand, Investigation, and a little left field, Intimidation, for when you get caught sneaking around.
I think investigation is not always a guaranteed for rogues either, really.
No, not always. I think there I would sometimes take the perception, but getting it in the race, it freed up another slot to sort of pick a different option. Investigation seems like a pretty good one. With the Eladrin elf, you're also getting a +1 to your intelligence, so there's a little boost there. And investigation works off intelligence, so that's always going to be a nice fit. Expertise, stealth and perception were the 2 obvious choices I thought for those.
a
yeah,
natural
really good
one
choice
for
there.
rogues.
Yeah, natural. Stealth's always going to be, I think, at the forefront of
Always.
every.
Pretty much,
Yeah,
I mean, mostly.
yeah, most rogues. So, the next choice that we sort of come to as a rogue, and it's a big one, is the roguish archetype, and that's at level 3.
The roguish what, sorry?
Archetype?
Archetype?
Is that what? Archetype.
Oh, that's how I'd
Is that what
pronounce
it is?
it. I don't know. Please leave a comment and tell us which one's right, because I don't honestly know. I'd say archetype.
I am very, very much doubting myself now.
Right, okay.
So
Sorry, continue.
I went for, in my archetype, I went for the assassin.
Oh, yeah.
Classic rogue. Yeah, I think it's even one of the options in the player handbook. None of these sort of fancy extra editions, just bog standard player handbook subtype option. And for that, for picking assassin, you get a couple of bonus proficiencies, the disguise kit and the poisonous kit, which they're quite nice. You can make use of them.
Mm-hmm.
But assassinate was the main ability I sort of built around and focused on when I was putting the rest of the class together, and the rest of my choices up to level 8. So assassinate, if you don't know, is, I shall read the description. Starting at 3rd level, you are at your deadliest when you get drop on your enemies. You have advantage on attack rolls against any creature that hasn't taken a turn in the combat yet. In addition, any hit you score against a creature that is surprised is a critical hit.
So, but with it being advantage, that's an automatic.
Automatic sneak attack, yeah. So you are getting your sneak attack straight away there.
And potential crit as well.
And yeah, potential crit, which I think a lot of that will come down to your DM and the encounters that you come across. So
it can be situational, definitely.
Yeah,
but,
yeah, it's very situational.
Devastating.
Oh yeah, if you can sort of build that tactic into the way that your party approaches things, like you be sort of a scout, then you can really sort of take advantage of it. And it sort of, that ability leads me onto my sort of next choice nicely, because at level 4 we get an ability score improvement, which you can also choose a feat. So at this level, and this sort of explains why I went with an elf, I've chosen Elven Accuracy. So Elven Accuracy, it's a half feat. So, and what I mean by that is it lets you increase one of your ability scores by 1. So it gives us the extra dex that we need to bump us up to a modifier increase. But it's also, the main part of it is, whenever you have advantage on an attack roll using dexterity, intelligence, wisdom, or charisma, you can reroll one of the dice. So it sort of gives us super advantage in a way. Lets us pick our lowest of our 2 d20s and re-roll it, essentially. So yeah, it's using that advantage that we're getting for our assassinate and sort of making it that much better. Now, the next choice you get for rogue is a second set of expertises, and at this point I went with sleight of hand and thieves tools. Again, very classic rogue choices.
Very traditional.
Just help, yeah, very traditional. Help you pick some of them pesky locks or disarm some of them traps that you may be coming across. And then I think the next choice that we get to is the level 8 ability score, which again, I actually went for another feat. Now, I know a lot of people would probably say, take the ability scores, take your X2 to get your dexterity to 20, but I've gone for the alert feat, and it's mainly because it gives you a +5 to your initiative. So at this point here, we're working with a +9 to our initiative. So it really sort of leans into that assassinate ability of trying to go first and getting our advantage. It's also got a couple of extra sort of nice bits to add on to that, which is you can't be surprised while you are conscious, and other creatures don't gain advantage on attack rolls against you as a result of being unseen by you. But I think that +5 to initiative that we're getting there is sort of the main reason for that choice. There are class choices up to level 8. Now, past that,
it's pretty devastating as it is,
Yeah.
As characters go, I mean, rogues are always massively high damage, but with the choices you've chosen there, it just completely takes it over the top.
Yeah, I think what I've tried to do is focus on that first turn of combat. You're gonna try and focus on the biggest, meanest thing, or most dangerous looking member of the encounter that you can sort of
the little old man with the staff at the back.
That guy, that guy, exactly.
He's the most dangerous guy, clearly.
You're gonna want to hit him. And one of the things that I didn't sort of mention with the elf choice is you're getting proficiency in longbow, which for this class is my weapon of choice. And because of that, sort of later down the line, your next ability score improvement, you might want to take a sharpshooter feat or increase your dex to the 20. So there's lots of good options sort of from that level 8 point for you to progress and sort of turn the build into your own. So I've mentioned ability scores a few times while talking about that. So let's discuss where I put, and we're going to be using standard array for this. I know because
we felt that we didn't. Well, I mean, not everybody's gonna use standard array. We get that, but it's a nice common point which everyone can kind of relate to, rather than us rolling it and be between us, and we both have the same thing to work with. So basically,
and I think when we use rolled stats in the games that we play, but it tends to be sort of similar to standard array in a way. You're going to have your high scores and a couple of low ones. But what I've done, I've gone for strength. I've put the 8. That's a dump stat for a rogue, and I think
always
for most rogues, it's just always going to be the dump stat. Dexterity's taking the 15, and by the time you get to level 8 with the half feet of the at level 4 for elvish accuracy, that's going to get you the extra +1 to get you to that +4 modifier, coupled with the +2 from the race. Constitution 14, that took the next highest. It's always good to have quite a excuse me, hearty constitution just to get them hit points up. Intelligence, I put a 13, and it's mainly because the Eladrin's second ability score increase was a +1 to intelligence, so with that 13 it gets you to the +2. I then went with a 10 in wisdom and a 12 in charisma. Now, I went with those way round just because I thought the rogue, when things go bad in a roleplay situation, when you have been stealthing somewhere or sneaking in somewhere, breaking in, and you get caught, you need a little bit of help talking your way out of things if things go sideways. So those are the abilities there, and then for my last sort of choice, if it were, I went for the criminal spy background, which I think is just a classic rogue sort of assassin. I feel like you would only get to be an assassin if you had been in sort of some sort of criminal underworld background. So with that, you're getting a skill proficiency in deception. I chose for the choice, I chose acrobatics because it's always nice to have that sort of agility to when you maybe need to climb up a building to get a better view, or up a tree maybe to get some vantage when you're using your longbow. Tool proficiency, I went with you get a gaming set and a tool proficiency, so wood carver's tools, like to craft your own longbow, and a dice set.
Okay.
There we have it. Any thoughts, Tom? What do we think?
There's a lot of classic choices there. For
yes.
rogue, it's a lot of very traditional choices. But going with that kind of assassin route, and with your race as well, just having those extra abilities on top, and your feat choices as well. Kind of focused, like I say, you focused everything on doing that kind of 1 point of massive damage, which I know is a kind of like preaching to the choir for anybody who plays rogues out there, because that's what rogues do best. But but you've kind of focused everything into doing that so precisely. Yeah, that would be kind of devastating. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I have to admit I've not played a rogue before, so I've come into this very blind, and it's one that I've not built before, but it's one that I feel like I'd quite like to play. I feel like I could get some good damage numbers out of this thing.
We'll put it on the list for campaigns.
Yeah,
we've got a list of campaigns to play. The ever-growing list. Ever-growing list
of campaigns. Okay, so shall we move on to
yes,
your build? I'm very interested.
Absolutely.
Very interested.
So, I mean, where my thoughts went with making a rogue character, because I was thinking like 1920s kind of like noir film PI. That's where I was going with it, and so I thought, how do I make that into a fantasy setting? And my first images was like, oh, what if I got like a really big minotaur with a big fedora and a massive coat? It'd be visually would look amazing, but you just cannot make a minotaur's racial abilities match with a rogue in any way whatsoever. So I threw that out the window. So what I went with was an owlin. Now this is. I'm surprised it's not a more natural choice for a rogue normally. Anyway, because I mean, like you say, you mentioned having dark vision is a great starting point, but an owlin has 120 feet dark vision.
A lot.
Which is a massive amount. And also, you get flight straight off the bat. You can fly. I mean, the rules state that you fly at your walking pace, which would be 30 feet, as is standard for a medium-sized creature. But you also get silent feathers. Now, this racial ability means you get a proficiency in stealth straight away. So, as a rogue, you can fly, you're automatically stealthy, and you've got dark vision. Perfect. It was a no-brainer for me.
Yeah, very nice.
Yeah. So then going on to the actual class itself. So, like I say, level 1 proficiencies. Now then, I went for not your standard proficiencies. So obviously I was focusing very much on being an investigator, so I chose insight, which is often a common one, an investigation, as like I say, as you picked as well, but persuasion and perception as well are on there. So not obviously I've already got stealth in as a racial ability, so I don't need to pick it again. It frees that up nicely for something else to go in there. So my expertise choices, I've put stealth as my expertise choice and insight as my expertise choice in there.
Oh, nice. Yeah, so, I like that.
I mean, and I'll explain why I chose insight in a moment, because that actually plays a big part in actually my choices as well. So then, because my roguish archetype is the inquisitive archetype. So what that means, because at 3rd level, you get the ability to, during combat, as a bonus action, you can take an insight check against your enemies, and then you would be able to have your sneak attack on those enemies that you pass against.
Wow, okay.
Yes, so you don't have to have advantage, and you don't have to have somebody else engaged in them, as long as you can pass. It's a contested check, your insight check against their deception check. So, but if you pass that, if you've got high enough insight, which is why I put my
your expertise
in there. Yeah, exactly. So that means that hopefully you can be reasonably good in combat as well. Straight off the bat, off top of that, just be able to always be able to do that sneak attack damage.
Yeah, it's a good, reliable way of getting your sneak attack in
exactly.
there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I like that.
So then, moving up to the expertise, so level 6. Oh no, sorry, I've missed my level 4 ability score improvement. So I chose a feat for this one. It's not a common feat, especially at your first feat option. I chose mobile. Now, one of the main reasons I chose that is because you gain an extra 10 feet of movement. But to an owlin, that means an extra 10 feet of flight.
Yeah,
which is a massive difference. I mean, it all depends on the ruling your DM wants to go with that. Because, I mean, yes, it should always increase your base flight speed by 10 feet. But it's whether you want to be able to... If it allows you to dash flying as well, which means that you can dash an extra, like up to 80 feet in a turn of flying speed.
I was just thinking that because I don't think I mentioned the cunning action being able to bonus action dash. So couple that with your flying speed.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah. This is it.
I like that.
So, the mobile feat as well allows you to use the dash action. Difficult terrain doesn't cost you extra movement on that turn when you use your dash action. So, it doesn't mean that much when you can fly over it. So, but I mean, it's just these extra bits. It's primarily for for that extra feat of just flying speed, primarily. So yes,
you never know. You could come into a storm.
It's any kind of situation where you're not able to fly for whatever reason.
Yeah.
It depends on how evil your DM is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not going to say anything because that could be a horrible DM.
No, Tom, you're a very, very nice DM.
You'll say that because I nearly kill you nearly every episode.
Yes.
So yes, level 6 expertise choices. I went for investigation and perception. So obviously doubling down on my investigative abilities. I always find it difficult to get out. So just doubling down on the fact that I'm a PI, I'm an investigator, and trying to just make sure. And perception is always going to be a good one, even for any kind of rogue. It's just with the choices the way I've got it, getting up to level 6 before choosing that is probably the not very rogue-like choice.
Yeah. I mean, I went with perception for the first expertise.
Yeah, this is
perception. Perception is one of them skills which someone in the party is always good to have someone that's
at least
at least one person.
And then level 8 ability score improvement, I went for skill expert, which like you've said, it's one of those kind of half feats. You get to increase one of your ability scores by 1, but then you also gain 1 proficiency in any skill of your choice, and you gain 1 expertise as well. So so another proficiency, another expertise, as well as that kind of bonus in proficiency. So with that I went for wisdom score boost, and I'll go over my ability scores in a moment, but I went with deception as my proficiency.
Oh, nice.
And persuasion as my expertise. Like I say, it's always good to be able to talk your way out of a situation.
Yeah, it is.
Yes, always is. So then, as we move on to ability scores. So as we've said before, we're using the standard array. So again, strength, always the dump stat for a rogue. 8 is automatically slides in there. You're not going to need it. You shouldn't, anyway.
If you've got a good strength-based rogue build,
but let us know.
Yeah,
yes, we would
love
to know how that.
I have not seen one.
No.
Yeah.
No, not at all. No. So please let us know. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Now this is where I have gone very much different from a lot of rogues. Is I've only put 12 in dex.
12 in dex.
Yeah,
that's different.
I know exactly. So
this
is it. I mean, I'm not going for combat, and I don't need to climb anything because I can fly. So Dex is pretty much out the window. So 12. I mean, I'm still getting a reliable plus in Dex, but it doesn't have to be huge. Constitution, I went for my flat 10. I know I'm not getting much of a bonus in there. I know a lot of people out there would be screaming, no, Constitution has to be high for hit points and everything else, but again, I always go for what it is, how good it would be for role-playing purposes, not necessarily for stats. That's just the way I play things. So then my high end is my intelligence at 14, because then that's your investigation. Wisdom is my 15. Put that one straight in there. And charisma's my 13.
Okay.
Yes, it's because wisdom, insight is, as I said, you see, it's all about the insight for this character. Again, for combat, you're wanting the insight so you can reliably do your sneak attack, and you'd be constantly, if you're questioning somebody as a PI, you want to know if they're lying to you. So that's it. Wisdom straight in there. Insight checking. The Gaz who's going to be, because I'm actually going to be playing this character in our next campaign, where Gaz is going to be. He's. I imagine at some point he's going to get fed up of me going, I'm going to insight check that person. I'm insight checking that person. I'm insight checking that person. It's like constantly. But that's my character. Yeah,
it's what the character does,
Yes.
and it sounds like he's going to do it very, very well.
Yeah, this is it. I've geared him up exactly to do that. I will want to know if the information I'm receiving is true or not, and that's the way I've gone with it. And for background, there is an investigator background. So that was just a natural choice, which allowed me to pick an intimidation for my skill proficiency.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, like I say, it's good to have if you really want to kind of have that in there. And history, and I thought for an investigator having a history, just a proficiency, just so you know what you're talking about, or know what if somebody is referring to is true or not. And for my tool proficiencies, obviously you always get your thieves tools proficiencies as a rogue, but I went for alchemist supplies, so just maybe be able to get those samples and work on any kind of samples or anything you've kind of picked up along the way, depending on the setting and how your DM likes to see how you can actually play with that. But that's the way I went with it, just so I can just so completely see myself really, really enjoying role-playing this character. Very much more, as with a lot of my character builds, it's all going to be about outside of combat, doing those role-plays, and in this case, investigations.
Yeah, I really love it.
Good.
Really love it. And I think because I build from a power gamer point of view and very stat-wide, when I think about that, I am generally thinking about combat, but D&D isn't all about combat.
No.
It is like it's. I don't even think it's 50-50. I think your roleplay tends to be. It's maybe more like 60-40 or 70-30.
Depends on your DM.
But it is very DM dependent and which campaign you're running and homebrews and whatnot. But yeah, from definitely in the campaign that we're playing, which you can catch on our YouTube channel. I think a lot of it is more so heavily on roleplay, which I love. I know I built Hector very much as a power build, but
you can't help it. I know you can't.
No, but I like role playing him in the setting as well.
Good. Well, I hope everybody watching has enjoyed us talk through our rogue builds. Now, if you ever want to have any kind of class or any kind of suggestions for our builds to go through, please drop us a comment and we will get round to that, and I'm sure we will at some point. But until then, we're going to be working through a lot more, and next time out we're going to be doing clerics, so drop a subscribe for the channel and we'll catch you next time. Till then.